Hey, everybody, welcome back to the Salt the Streets podcast, the most pro-America, anti-government show you know, the show where we discuss news, government, and culture, and how it pertains to you, the individual, and your natural rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. I am that big bird-looking fellow they call Colin, and I am, of course, joined by my co-host, brother-in-arms, a man about town, we'll say today. That's this week's new title for you.
Like
Donovan
it.
Phillips, how are you, good sir?
I am excellent, sir. Thank you very much for having me here today.
I'm coming in too hot. I am clipping on the high
Chill
end.
the fuck out, Colin.
I know. It's not good.
We're not supposed
Producer,
to swear in
do
the first
your
minute, right?
Oh, well, you know, if the algorithm cared about us.
We're getting there. We're getting there. Y'all seen us on the IGs. We're out here balling. Yes, thank you very much for joining us, everybody, here today. Episode 147, Salt of the Streets. Today is May 6th, 2023. It is a Saturday, of course. That is why we are here.
Also because we love you.
That is correct. Thank you again
It's also
for
one.
joining us. I'm pretty sure that's 3, but if not, thank you again for joining us. We're out here. It's going to be a great day today. We have a grab bag, listener request style show going on. It's pretty dead out there, as you guys probably know.
Yeah.
There are, as far as Salt of the Street style topics of news stories that directly impact your life, liberty, pursuit of happiness, these things are fairly limited. Just this show. Of course, there are things going on, of course, but as far as the things that we discussed. So we took some listener requests. We have some topics like that. We have,
Very excited.
MGTOW, right? The Men Go Their Own Way movement. That came from Josh. And I have not watched this video, so it's going to be a cold one for me. So that's going to be a lot of fun. It's another
Excited.
just Pearly Things video. We
Because
watched.
I learned exactly what a MGTOW was
Yeah.
over this past week because of Josh Keaton's requests.
So that's
I'm
going to
very
be great.
excited.
We had another quest to talk about the Chinese nationals crossing the border, and we are going to talk about Title 42 anyway because that's one of the things that is going on. So we're going to kind of wrap those things together. Of course, we have some local stories. We're going to go over some Instagram comments from the reel that we put out this week because I came up with it. Okay, so here's the deal.
Here's the deal.
Here's the Instagram deal with Salt of the Streets, right? I run the account. I don't think it's any question at this point. We all know what's going on.
Indeed. I said so much last night on the beer show. It's like the Instagram game is fire right now, but you just talked to Donovan about that. He's the man on the IG.
So here's the deal. Here is the jam, right? I don't care what you have to say in the comments. I don't care. We're going to keep making this content regardless, right? I thought a lot about this because when people commented, I was like, well, I'm just not going to say anything because I don't care what they have to say, especially if it's critical. You don't know what you're talking about. But then the commenting is good for the algorithm, right? It's good. It helps us with the algorithm. So this is the policy. If you guys know, you guys aren't going to go, it doesn't matter. But now you know this is the policy for everybody. 2 replies. You get 2 replies, right? If I deem that it is worthy of my time to reply to you, because my time is precious, right? You know this. We talk about how busy I am. If it is deemed worthy of a reply, you will get 2. And then I'm going to talk about you on the show. I'm going to talk about the show probably regardless if it's warranted. I'm either going to roast you or commend you on the show. But you get 2 on Instagram, and that's it. And then I'll tag you in it with these people that we talk about. I'll tag you when we turn this into another reel that you're going to go and watch. I'll tag you in it, and I'll explain to you further why you're fucking wrong. But I'm not going to waste my time on Instagram doing that shit. So
2 comments is the
get your shit together
moment, right?
Yes,
Okay.
that's it. 2 replies. After that, you haven't won. You didn't win because I didn't come back. That's not how it works. Because I'm gonna roast you in the next episode.
I'm just done donating my brain power to this.
Yeah. 2 is that's all that I need for the algorithm. So 2 is what you get. 2 replies. I put that in our bio this week on Instagram. I changed it to whatever 1 sentence, and the second one you get 2 replies. That's what it says it in there. So no one will even know what that means until they only get 2 replies from us. So
That's fucking
so
funny.
that's the deal with the Instagram.
I like the generalized rule though. It feels good. It feels solid.
Yeah.
I like it.
You get 2.
I'm a fan of this situation.
Yeah, I gotta, most of the time I'm like at work when I'm doing it. I don't have time. I don't have time to waste doing that. So
No, we're too busy doing arts and crafts, baby.
yeah, but it's good for the algo. So
The algo.
Yeah.
Is this new term I need to learn?
know.
Oh,
I'm
okay.
just
This
saying
is
it.
your.
I'm sure I'm not the first person to say it. It's just what I said. It's good for the algorithm. It's good for the algo. We're doing it. So it's probably from somewhere else. I don't know.
Pull it up, J-Mo.
Yeah.
I was okay. So let me tell you a little side story before we get rolling here.
Yep.
I spent almost 2 hours this morning trolling the depths of YouTube for a perfect soundbite worthy, soundboard level, like little tidbit from
Yeah.
either Shane Gillis calling himself a retard or Mark Norman trying to say comedy,
Yeah.
but I couldn't find one that was like good. I spent 2 hours doing this morning, which was a great way to start the day. I should
Yeah.
add, just by plugging just nothing but Shane Gillis and Mark Norman. But I found the lines I wanted to, but then there was like people talking over each other the whole time. I was like, this is not good soundboard material. I
clear.
can't do it.
Yeah.
But I did basically watch 2 hours of nothing but Shane Gillis and Mark Norman clips today, which was phenomenal,
Yeah.
including the clips from the very first ever Protect Our Parks, before they were dubbed Protect Our Parks. And
The
everybody's
throwback.
learning about Ari Shafir being like a middle-aged climate activist for a minute. It was really funny.
Protect that park.
Protect that park, and the park's gone. So that's fine. But yeah, so unfortunately, no Shane Gillis or Mark Norman sound clips on today's show.
Well, what the fuck?
Yep, just couldn't pull it together, close the deal. Just wasn't happening. But other than that, what? Because we're going to talk about like some generally, we break our things up into 4 segments: local, national, international.
We're doing what we want today.
Yeah, and we're just going to kind of do whatever we want today.
You don't tell us.
No, you tell us topic ideas, and we just, if we're willing to, get past 2 comments worthy of action on it. Then
That's
we'll
right.
find a place.
That's right. No, we'll start with the classic way because I got one. Just go ahead and hit the button, and then we'll do
Let's
this.
do it.
With that, let me ask you this. Okay, so I don't remember how I thought of this week. Doesn't matter. But I'll ask you the question, and then I'll give you my answer so that you have some time to go. So
Okay.
the question is, let me ask you, right, how old were you when you realized that people didn't have authority over you just because they were older than you? Right?
Okay.
And
Yep.
so this is my time when I first kind of like realized this and was like, wait, I don't have to listen to this person just because they're older than me. And I was 18 and I was working at I had bucked authority before this, but this like was a proper realization of like, oh, I'm an adult. I don't have to listen to someone just because they're older than me now. And I was working at the call center, and at the back of the call center in the smoking area, there was a turnstile door. Is that what they're called?
Yeah, those little roundy things.
Yes, and it maybe had like 3 or 4 spots in it for people, but you had a badge that you had to use to get in all the doors. So it was automated. So you would do the badge, and then it would start to go,
Okay.
and you had to just kind of jump in, and then you could follow it. But if you went in too early, it would like catch you, and then if you got stuck in there, it would stop, and it would go backwards, and it would force the other people out who were in there, and so new people at the call center would always fuck it up because you couldn't go right in. You had
There's
to
a timing involved.
Yeah. You had to scan it, let it go, like, and kind of close the partial, and then go in.
I've dealt with these doors before.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They're-
So it
those
would,
like automatic turnstile ones are
Yes.
stupid.
yes. So it would happen all the time. And so I remember coming in one time and a person on the inside who had obviously worked there for quite some time, because there were a lot of people that worked there when it first opened, like as Teletech when I was in elementary school. So they'd worked there for 10 years through like 4 or 5 different companies owning this building. And they just continued to have this job. And
Rough life.
yes. And so I remember this person yelling at me from inside of the building when I'm trying to go inside that I went to scan my thing, and they were like, wait, you fucking wait to go in the door. And I heard this person tell me that, and I was like,
Fuck you.
fuck you. Absolutely not. I'm not going to do that. I don't have to listen to you. Like, you don't have any authority over what I'm doing. There's no reason that I need to do what you've just told me to do. So I fucked it up on purpose. I jumped in there immediately knowing that it would get stuck. And that person waited, and they got stuck too. And they had to go backwards. And that's what you fucking get. So I remember that time of like, I don't have to listen to you because you're older than me.
Yeah. I honestly could not tell you. I was a pretty well trained slave to authority most of my life.
Yeah.
And then it was like when I turned, 17, I was joining the military and doing all that stuff. And then you're just doing what people tell you to do essentially, or what the book tells you to do, or something like that. And But yeah, I don't know, like the generalized age at which somebody like told me to do something. And I was like, I don't need to fucking do that.
Yeah.
What are you talking about? I guess it's just, I don't know.
'Cause
Maybe I'm so used to dealing with the authority that I knew had authority in my life that I just didn't. There was nothing outside of that really, other than like
Yeah.
maybe social pressure. But I don't remember like I'm like, oh, I don't have to listen to grown-ups no more because
Right.
these bitches are dumb. They've always been dumb in my mind. You know, I was having long, multiple-hour dinner table conversations with adults 20, 30 years my senior when I was an early teen, like at my grandparents' house and stuff like that.
Yeah.
We had big dinners and so we'd talk politics and shit like that all the time. And like those guys never told me what to do. As far as I'm concerned, if I had like an opinion or at something at that point, if they said something I didn't agree with, I'd be like, that doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about. Like, no, that's wrong.
Right.
Or I think it's wrong or whatever. And then of course, being an untrained like 14-year-old, I just got my dick stomped in the dirt by a bunch of 65-year-old, either progressives or conservatives.
Yeah.
Either way. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe I don't, there's no particular moment in time I can click, but it would have been something I feel like I've known for a long time. I didn't have to do that, especially when I turned 18. Now I can do whatever I want as long as
Right.
it's not directly part of my job or whatever. But yeah, I don't know. That's a tough one.
Yeah, it's probably harder to answer for people who like enlisted straight out of high school.
Because I was like, no, I want to go take orders.
right,
What's up?
Right.
And half the time, those people were younger than me at a
Yeah.
certain point.
But if you just go into a job or to college or something like that afterwards,
Yeah.
That
I'd have a problem with
idea
like
of,
the professorial class. I'd have a
Yes.
problem with them
And
a lot.
because that idea of like age authority carries over for a little while,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think most people who didn't enlist probably have some point like that where they're like, I actually don't have to listen to you. Like, this is really a suggestion. You think that this is what I should be
Yeah.
doing, but I don't actually have to do that.
Exactly.
And I imagine
I have free will, baby.
yeah, probably most kids that went to college have some point where they're like, I was listening to everybody for so long, and I was like, wait, I actually don't have to. So
That's so funny.
yeah, but I thought about that moment in the turnstile today, and I was like, that was the time when I was like, fuck you. Like, I know, yes.
So, what were you listening to at this point in time? NPR on the way over here, or on the way home?
No,
from work
because it
one
was
day,
earlier
or-
this week that I
Yeah.
thought of that, and I was at work, so it must have been something that I was doing that made me think about the call center,
Mm-hmm.
and then thought about that time in the turnstile.
That's funny. And I'm like, yeah, what triggers that kind of thought to be like,
Yeah.
when did I quit listening to motherfuckers?
Could
Just do
be-
what I want to do.
Could be anything. It could be literally anything, because it wasn't about the original thought. Wasn't about that. I was just thinking about the call center, and
Yeah.
then thought about that time. So, and then
Gotcha.
this question grew from there, because then I was thinking about that time and telling that person no, and then I thought, I was like, that's probably the first time that I did
Yeah.
that, because I just didn't listen. And
I'm like, nah, I'm
Right.
just gonna go through this fucking door now, bud.
right.
Wait, you fucking wait for the
Yes,
door.
Yeah, I remember. It was a woman. It was like a short, very rotund woman with like a shaved haircut.
And she'd been there since day one, essentially.
Yeah, it was an OG for sure.
Yeah,
And
that definitely explains
you
a lot.
fucking wait. It's like, oh, no, absolutely not.
I have built my authority up here at this place just by being here longer than anybody else.
Yes.
And my life is fucking terrible and I hate it. And I know exactly the smart ass type of kid that works here now because I was the same person back then and now I'm just a bitter, debilitated
Yes.
person who just fucking hates everything and exercises authority all over the junior people.
And they were bitter for a ton of different reasons, and part of it was because the job at each company who owned that building, the job got progressively worse.
Yeah,
like when
bet.
when it first started, I guess it was like really a pretty good job. It was always sprint stuff. But when it first started, it was business accounts. And so you were talking to like someone's assistant, and you were going to do like the whole company got new phones. So you're going to do like 200 phone swaps. You'll be on
Yeah.
the phone for 2 hours, and then you'll get off and you'll not have another call for like 40 minutes. You'll be chilling. And they used to project like all the football games inside of there. And they had different food vendors that came all the time and all kinds of like, you could play board games with the people standing next to you. Like, I guess when it first started, it was really a pretty lit job. If you were cool with doing like a desk job like that. It
Yeah.
was pretty cool. And then it got worse and worse and worse. And when I worked there, I told you I couldn't color, I couldn't read, I couldn't do anything. I had to get a doctor's note so that I could entertain myself at my desk because
If they had the technology at the time, if you weren't actively typing, you'd have to have your hands down, both palms
Yeah.
down on the desk, and there'd be sensors to make sure you're doing that. Eye recognition to make sure you're staring at your screen.
Yeah.
I wonder how much of that glory workplace that is really just like a myth at this point.
Yeah.
How much of it had got romanticized over the years, especially with how shit it was at the time. We're like, yeah, man, it would have been like at lunch, there was like a common space, and they would play the TV, and people will watch Price is Right. And then somehow,
It's grown.
over 10 years, it's now, oh yeah, man, we used to sit there, play board games between
Projectors,
calls.
dog. There were projectors here. That's hilarious.
Oh man, but yeah, I like living in that made-up world, just because I want to assume that a good workplace can't go hardcore terrible like that. But you change management a few times,
Yeah.
crunch numbers.
It was all the
crunch
different
numbers.
companies, that owned it. Yeah, that were just trying to make more and more money off of it. Because I assume the building gets sold because it's not as profitable as it should be.
Yeah.
And so it gets sold to another company that can take on that payroll, and then also say, well, also we can trim fat here, here, and here, and make it a more productive building.
Yeah.
And then they can't actually do that, and
Yeah,
someone
it's-
else comes in and promises even higher than they did before, because it was Concentrix was the company that I worked for, and the attrition rate was like, I don't know, 20% or something like that. I mean, it was a ridiculous washover
Yeah.
because it was horrible. It just was
yeah.
a terrible, terrible job that even if you made it through the first 6 weeks of training or whatever it was, as soon as you got to the floor, it just was horrible. It was a horrific job.
It's basically fucking buds, but for teenagers.
Yeah, I told you, when I was first started and I was working 10-hour shifts, I was taking like 60 to 70 calls a day.
That's so many.
That's a
dude.
lot of people to talk to when most of them are upset.
Yeah.
Because you're not calling there because you're happy.
No.
You know? It's because
No.
you need something or you're very upset.
And if
It
you
was
need
bad.
something, you need it right the fuck now.
Yeah, it was bad. It was really bad.
terrible.
That's
That's
why
so
the early
terrible.
shift was best, because the people were upset, but at least they were on the East Coast and they didn't have time to fuck around. Like they
Yeah.
weren't trying to scream at you, because we opened at 4, so it was 7 a.m. there, and they're like, I am on my way to work. I cannot do this. Like, I just need this thing done,
Yes.
and then I'll be a bitch to the next person I see, and I'll leave it alone.
There you go.
So that was better.
I just can't with that fucking call center business, man.
The late night, some people were closing it down, dude. It
Soul
closed.
crushing.
They closed at like 8 or 9. So some people had the closing shift, and they're there till like 10 because the person they're on the phone with, their issue is not resolved at 9,
Oh,
or you
no.
get the last call of the day, and they don't just close it, like there's a queue still.
Yeah,
So the
yeah, yeah.
queue
You
has
gotta
to be
empty out
dealt
the
with.
queue.
Yep. So if there's 30 people in the queue, then 30 people are going to take a call at 9 o'clock when they're supposed to be leaving.
That's
Yes.
fucking gross. And,
Yes.
and they're probably getting in trouble for that, not getting bonuses, because you're going over your time.
Yeah.
You should have this fucking shit
Your
handled by
your
now.
handle time, is
Yeah.
what it was called. And so you would get bitched at for that, and if you were waiting too long in between calls, they'd be screaming at you, "Get out of ACW!" After call wait, that's what it was.
Get out of ACW.
Yeah,
Fucking lazy pig. Pick up another phone call.
corporate America. That's what I had. I had most of my notes, because you only deal with like really 12 issues most of the time, something like that. So the computer, I said I had notes pre-cut in just sticky notes on the side, and I would just copy and paste and then swap out the account number and add a little bit of sauce or whatever, and done.
Done. Yeah, I think that's like when you were talking earlier about how like it's not making money or something like that, so you sell it off. And I would assume almost the opposite, where somebody starts this company, dope company, people are working there, you're slaying it on the corporate commercial accounts, and then you built it up to a point like, I got a lot of fucking money invested. This thing's worth some money. Sell it off. It's profitable. Another company buys it. They want to trim the fat a little bit more.
yeah.
They cut down. They a little bit more corporatized. They make their nut. They sell it off. Somebody else goes, well, I can bring that profit from 10% up to 15 now. Let's just squeeze a little bit more. But I think only in that world, because you can just take those humans that work for you and then make them more and more and more into just a fucking serial number and a
Yeah.
robot doing a thing.
And that's how you
And
lose
then
the food
you-
vendors and stuff.
Yes.
Is because that's how they're trimming the
Yes.
fat. They're like, oh, we're spending all this money on fucking
Exactly.
having Azteca here twice
Yeah.
a week, you know?
Oh, man, that'd be nice, though.
And
That
it's,
would've
they
been
did
sweet.
that when I worked. They did it one time, and it was cool as hell. They had a whole, just like a crew from Azteca that came in with like a buffet thing, and you just bought.
Yeah.
And it was like $10, whatever, and they give you a burrito or some tacos or some shit. And you're like, this is great, dude. This is excellent.
There's like the last 3 hours of my fucking paycheck, but hey, that's fine.
Yeah, yeah. That job, I think I made $10.50 an hour. That was my very first job.
That's not bad, though.
No.
Gonna spend, well, considering what you're doing, that's shitty.
Minimum-
But
yeah.
for like a no experience type of gig,
Minimum was 10 at the time.
Yeah.
And so 50 cents over was like, nice.
you're like, nice. I'm making some fucking money.
Yeah, all those McDonald's jobs and stuff were still minimum wage. You weren't getting 16, 17 an hour like you are now. I don't even know what minimum wage here is now. It's like 14 some shit, right?
I don't know,
14,
man.
27 or some horrific
Yeah.
number.
I remember when they did like Fight for 15 in Seattle, and then Seattle was like, we're fucking based, we'll do fucking 15 or whatever. We're offering people 17.
They're
And
banging on 20 now.
Yeah, they are. And that's, I don't know how many years the Fight for 15 thing came around, and as soon as like places started to do that, where they're like, well, actually, 10 years ago it would have been 15.
Right,
Now it needs to be
right,
25. I'm
right.
like, wait. What are we
Yes.
doing here, guys?
Ballin'.
We just did this. I told you were doing this. And then you did it, and you're shameless. You're fucking shameless.
They don't care.
You know who else is shameless?
Locals? Let's do it.
Fucking Governor Jay Inslee is shameless.
Yes.
And his wingman of, like, no kidding, it's like they got the idea from Obama and Eric Holder. They are fucking wingmen together, governor and attorney general of the
They're,
state.
they're squatted, yeah.
I hate it, but thank God Inslee is on the way out.
Yeah, so Jay Inslee announced this last week that he's not going to run for re-election. He will not seek re-election for the seat or the office of governor in Washington State. So let's talk about this. Why? Why do you think he's not running again? Because it's not just because he's too old. Because he's, always talking about how I'm fucking playing tennis and I'm pickleball, fucking shit
yeah.
like that. Like, I'm at the dog park. I'm doing this. Like, and he's a huge dude, right? Like he's like 6'4", some shit like that. He's mad tall.
He's lurch style like me.
Yeah, he was a quarterback, like I think at UW.
Well, it explains the stroke symptoms.
Well, also the 9 fucking boosters that he had, and all the different times he had COVID.
That's
Probably
yeah.
has something to do with it.
I would imagine, because there is no state. He just goes, I'm just not going to run anymore. He
Yes.
didn't give any specific reasons. It's because this would be his 4th term, I believe
I
he'd be
think
running
so.
for, which I think only one other governor in the state had ever done that or some
I
shit.
think he would win if he ran again.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think he probably would. So either he's going to run for president again once Bob Ferguson, well, we'll talk about that in a second, but he's either going to run for president again, which I don't know if he would.
Against Biden?
Yeah, because if there's no establishment people coming out against him now, it's just like the, fucking RFK or Marianne Williamson coming out against Biden. Biden's officially announced at this point.
Yeah.
Well, a video said he did. So I would guess at this point he's not running because no one else is. If that changes in the future, I would expect him to throw his hat in the ring again because that's kind of what he does at this point.
Yeah.
But he's probably just sitting on a stack of fucking money and good spots and be like, yeah, I could just retire. Kick it in the private sector, do some PAC stuff, do some donors type stuff.
He'll
run
become
some-
super delegate,
Yes, super smoozing with all
Yeah.
the rich people, and then make more money on the outside and even feel more important. That'd be my guess. I don't know. Why would you want to be governor of the state? It's a shitty job. Why not get paid more on the outside?
He wants.
Well,
He just did that for the last 4 years. Like I can
And
literally
he has-
do whatever I want here.
and he has groomed his protege, which we'll talk about towards the tail end of it because
Yeah.
it just dovetails. But he's groomed his protege to be another version of him. All that he's going to be getting phone calls from Bob Ferguson
Oh, for sure.
if he becomes governor. Be like, well, what do you think about this? He'll be like a fucking hardcore advisor. His legacy will continue, Obama style with Biden.
I think I think that Jay Inslee expects Joe Biden to win re-election, and
Getting that cabinet spot.
yes, yeah, I think that he's going to just try and get into cabinet spot.
Which cabinet spot do you see Inslee filling?
Energy, maybe.
Ooh, I mean, he's super green.
Yeah.
He's always running on that green shit. That
Yeah.
would be good. Because who's in charge of green energy now?
I
We
don't
don't know.
actually know. Yeah,
That's-
I
and
don't
that
know
says something. We
who
don't got
is-
no all stars,
right.
and that's an issue. I'd actually be really curious about that. If you
find out.
pull that up there, JMO. But yeah, as a part of this, as he steps down, somebody has announced an exploratory committee to seek election.
See, it is.
It
What is
is.
this woman's name?
That's a good question. I like the fact that we don't know it.
Well, I can see a picture of her. It just isn't telling me what her name is.
Oh, sons of bitches. Means that she's not.
Jennifer Granholm is her name.
Oh, yeah.
She's the Secretary of Energy.
I have heard this name before. Probably from Commentary Boys or something
Yeah.
like that. They're always cabinet level talk. Yeah, and I would assume that along with a bunch of other people that are in the cabinet, she's probably leaving this summer too. A lot of people are leaving this summer
Probably.
because tis the season to be taken off because you got elections in the fall.
It's pretty common.
Yeah. I mean, fucking Millie's fucking stepping down. Thank the gods.
Yeah, so I think that's what I think. I think that he's looking into cabinet
Yeah.
position because he expects that Joe Biden will win re-election.
Just make himself available type of thing.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, and this assault weapons ban was a big win for Bob Ferguson.
Yep.
So there's a couple of people who announced that
For
they
Bob
were,
Ferguson and Bob Ferguson only.
Yeah, there was
Piece
a
of
couple of
shit.
people who announced that they were going to be running for governor. Bob Ferguson being one of them, and he announced, I think, the morning after Jay Inslee
Oh, yeah.
said that he wasn't going to run, and he put out this. Bob Ferguson put out this list of 150 endorsements the day after,
Yep.
right? Which raises obvious questions of how did you speak with 150 groups over the last 12 hours that all said that they were willing to endorse you? Oh, you didn't.
Oh,
You
wait.
fucking election meddling, you fucking piece of shit is what you're doing. You are actively working with people that were to endorse you before you have even announced your candidacy, which is illegal. Right? We got such a hard on Attorney General for the law, but you're actively breaking election law right now.
Oh, and it gets so much better with Bob Ferguson.
Let's hear it.
Okay, so obviously he's got his thing paid for by Bob Ferguson.
It's a
for-
movement, by the
for-
way. Bob
for-
Ferguson isn't just a campaign, it's a movement,
it's a
is what he
movement.
says. Yeah.
It's a movement.
It's clear to me this isn't just a campaign, it's a movement. That's why I had to start moving a month ago.
How self-assured of yourself can you get?
He is the worst.
So this is from the Seattle Times.
Yup.
Washington judge finds AG's office, DSHS, in cavalier withholding of lawsuit evidence. I think we talked about this a little bit the other day,
Yes.
right? Attorney General Office and Department of Social and Health Services.
Jim Bruner's a good reporter, too.
Yes, he is actually. They've been fined $200,000 and face the prospect of forking over hundreds of thousands of dollars more in legal fees for what a judge called egregious and cavalier withholding of evidence in an ongoing lawsuit. Excuse me. King County Superior Court Judge Michael Ryan, in a March 21st ruling, ordered the fine as a severe sanction. A quote, severe sanction for the state failing to turn over nearly 11,000 pages of records to attorneys suing over the alleged neglect of a developmentally disabled woman at an adult family home in Kent. So,
Also, for a second, shout out to the PCs because that phrase has been stable for like a decade now.
yeah, the developmentally
Yeah,
disabled,
that's been the PC term for a really long time.
it's very descriptive.
So shout out because they're not changing it around.
Yeah, right.
They're keeping it legit, and I like it.
I mean, I like it because it's like, it seems scientific.
Yeah.
You're not trying to deconstruct
No.
something and create new terms so
No.
that you can operate in this world of, nonsense.
Yes.
But-
of wokery.
Yes, indeed. You have to deconstruct everything so that you can have the ability and freedom to move around in logistical nonsense, logical nonsense.
A couple months ago when I was talking to Jordan's stepdad about that shit going on is working with the fucking posters and whatever, and the trainings and stuff. And so I broke down all of the things, the Marxism.
Oh, yeah,
things.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so I'm using the term woke. I don't even like to use the word to the term woke. I was like, neither do I. I was like, but that's
what they call
What
it.
else do you want to call it?
Yeah.
It's like that's what the term is now. It's like it's dumb as hell. I don't disagree with you. It's
Yeah.
like, but that's what the term is now. That's the easiest way if you're trying to describe this to somebody. Wokeness. It's like they'll know what you're talking about. They might have a memed out version of it, but they'll know what you're talking
Exactly.
about. It's like, so I don't like it either. But this is what it is.
Yeah,
You know?
if you start off with like theoretical Marxist and communist theory,
Yes.
yeah, a lot of people be like, "Well, I don't know what that means."
Yes.
Because we call it wokeness. You're like, "Oh yeah, I know what that is, more or less."
Translated to wokeness.
I
baby,
don't
by
know
Gen
what it is.
Z.
I can't define it, but I know it when I see it. Right?
Like porn.
Exactly.
You know when you see it.
Thanks for the reference.
Yes.
But yeah, so this is he's being sanctioned in an ongoing, or his office is being sanctioned by the court system because of them withholding 11,000 pages of documents relating to somebody that lives in a group living home like that. And so there's somebody's family is suing the state for neglect because all these retirement places are
Yes.
run by the state in our state.
Yes.
Sounds weird to say that. And ultimately, as the attorney general, he's the one in charge of these lawsuits. They all come back to his office. So there's that. Got the it's a 12-point. It's a weird type of ruling because it's not really a ruling. It's kind of like it's just an order from the court because they're involved in this litigation.
Right.
And it's so there's no ruling or anything. It's just kind of like I am saying right now as the judge, this is a severe breach of legal practice, and you guys knowingly did that. So we're gonna sit you with a shit ton of fines and give you a slap on the hand, so that everybody now knows this is original. It goes in. It'll be on file forever. Everybody can find it, and they just detail some aspects of the case and essentially how the state failed to turn over 11,000 pages of documents that were required being turned over during the discovery process.
And again, shout out Seattle Times because this came out the same week that he announced
Yes,
his.
it was like boom, boom.
Yes.
That was May 4th, and then his thing was on May 2nd. So it was 2 days after he dropped his endorsement list.
Bob Ferguson is a fascist,
He is a piece of human garbage.
and he now seeks to secure that role by taking the highest office in the state.
Yep.
This is not something that we should allow to happen. This is not a good thing that is happening here. He just within the last 2 weeks, the assault weapon ban was actually signed, right? We talked about it in the last few episodes. It was actually signed just a few days after we were here. So it's this is not good. He has a record now for 4 terms of actively infringing on people's rights, making the places that you live less safe, and removing your ability to keep yourself safe. So
Shout out Joseph.
this is
What up, big guy?
not a thing that we should be doing. I
Hard fucking no.
plead to the state, as much as I don't think any of you should have a say in anything anyway, because you do. I have to ask you, appeal to you, don't
do this.
Don't do this.
Don't
This
do
is
this.
a bad idea. I promise you it's a bad idea. I promise you that you will be effectively less free at the end of that term than you are in the beginning. I guarantee it. Even if you don't realize it, we talked about this yesterday. If you don't get it, that's fine. I'm fine with that. I feel I got a pretty good idea what freedom is. I got a pretty damn good idea what freedom is. Okay. And it boils down to choice. And I guarantee you, at the end of those 4 years, you will have less choice in your life than you do at the beginning. Just like we did for the last 3 terms with Jay Inslee. You will have less choices. You will have less options in your life. I guarantee it. Men's Warehouse. You'll like the way you look. I fucking guarantee it. I guarantee it. It will be worse. I promise you that. And when I leave by 2030, I will say, this is what you get. You put him in office because I fucking, same deal, Men's Warehouse, he will be in office. I Men's Warehouse that he'll be in office. I will leave, and I will tell you that I don't feel bad for what you've done. I will say I will be happier somewhere else. I'm taking my children and a business, 2 businesses, and we're going. And we're going to make more money somewhere else where we're not being raped in taxes.
So
So please don't do this.
please
But
don't
you,
do this.
but you will.
Yes.
But please don't.
It's can imagine a world in which after Obama left office, Eric Holder ran for president and won. we're looking at that.
Fast and the Furious 2.0, 3.0.
Yeah, bro.
We be balling. He's like, okay, so I know it didn't work the first time,
But it'll work this time.
but it's a good plan.
It's a solid
It just
plan.
didn't turn out, but it's a good plan. The idea is good. Execution was bad. Idea is great. Let's go for it again.
Besides, I mean,
We got to get the cartel somehow.
when it comes to our state, right?
Yeah.
Our particular state, and it is not alone in the way this works, but like your perspective on freedom as it pertains to the state of Washington is completely wrong, because freedom isn't about choices.
Right.
Freedom is about you making the right choice, and we're just going to help you make the correct choice.
Yes.
And so we're the good guys here, because we're eliminating your ability to make bad choices. And so that's the beauty of this communist centrally run state. We tell you what's bad, just don't do that. So you have the option, you have the choice
Yeah.
to go get a jab or go to a baseball game.
You
But
don't even have to think about it.
you don't even got to think about it. Just do what they tell you to do,
Yep.
and you'll be fine.
And you'll
Bob
feel
Ferguson will gleefully carry out that legacy and continue to push it forward. It's going to be beautiful.
by Men's Warehouse, dude. It's not good. I'm telling you.
At Men's Warehouse it.
Yeah, it's not good.
It's become a verb now. Men's Warehouse it.
Yeah.
Oh man. And there's another thing. I was trying to find it and I couldn't find it. There's something else with Bob Ferguson going on right now too, if I recall. There's some kind of other investigation. He's in hot water for something else.
Oh, I bet. Look
And
at
I,
his
I
face.
couldn't fucking find it last night.
Yeah.
But I have this feel. There's more there.
Yeah.
I'm not there yet.
He's
So,
also one of those guys that I got after him on Twitter a couple weeks ago for this, that when he was still appealing for the assault weapons ban, that he's like, as a father, you know, we have to pass the assault weapons ban to fucking protect children. And I replied to him, like, as a father, you're a fucking fascist. Like, I'm not gonna, you don't get to use that to appeal, like, because you have children, you know better than everybody else. That's not how it works. Just because, literally, almost anybody can have a child. Almost anybody on the planet can create a child. There are some people who do not have that ability. Almost anybody.
Yep.
It doesn't make you fucking smart. It doesn't make my sister has 5 children. Not good. That's not. I wouldn't let her choose anything. I wouldn't let her tell anybody what to do. So, the fact that you think because you have you
going hard.
I don't want to be too crass, because you had children. I almost broke it down even worse, but we'll keep it.
Very surface level.
Yes. You think that you know better because you had children? It's hilarious. It's laughable. It's a joke. Just like this man here.
It's too bad Hitler didn't have kids, because then you can always draw the comparison and be like, well, yeah, everybody has kids, you know, it's a good thing. They make, well, Hitler had kids too.
Yeah, you know.
But
who else?
unfortunately, he didn't.
You know who else has children? Kim Jong Un. As a
Boom.
father, the
Boom.
best thing for you and everybody in the country is to shut the fuck up and get into camp and do everything that I tell you to. Dance when
Yep.
we tell you to dance, monkey. That's the best thing to do as a father. Fucking asshole, dude. He's a fascist. This guy is a fascist. I promise you. I guarantee it. There isn't even a question about it. We saw this happen. They are willing to remove your freedoms by force. They're happy to do so.
Yes. And Kevin, shout out in the chat. He says, if California is known as California, then I guess Washington State should just be known as Marks.
I like it.
I like that a lot.
Yeah.
We are Marks. And that's just the way you have to say it, because
Marxington.
it's the ultimate collectivist like verb.
We live in Marxington.
No. We are Marks.
It's just Marx.
We are Marks. There's no you are Marks. There's no I am Marks. It's just we are Marks. So I have to. And funny enough, when you really think about the timeline of how the last 5 years have gone,
Yeah.
particular in California. Like, what's 5 years ago? I can't. It's 2023, so it'd be 2018. From
Yep.
2018 to today, there's been a massive slide in a certain particular direction down in California. Very authoritarian, very, Marxist, whatever you want to call it, right? And Washington State is generally about 5 years behind California. So we just now kicking it off. We got the shit going on in New York. I mean, not in New York, in Seattle. The the decriminalization of drugs and shit
Yep.
like that. And I wouldn't be surprised if we get a right to rest type act that we might hit later on from Portland that legalizes homelessness. I mean, we're right there. We're just a few years behind. So your 2030 timeline seems to just to be about where it needs to be. We'll be the Bridget Fettises of Washington, just bailing out last minute.
Yeah.
Gotta go. It's officially too hot.
Just need money. Help us escape.
Indeed.
That's the tagline now.
Don't you wanna watch this
help
show
us
every
escape.
day?
Yeah. Help us escape. Go to the Patreon, subscribe, and that is how you help us escape Washington State. You can find us, obviously, our own personal social media, Salt of the Street on Twitter, and at alpaca_Donovan on Instagram, and Collins at Big Bird Off on both those things. saltofthestreets.com for all of this information. Patreon.com, Salt of the Streets. That is the most important one. We just put out a new article the last of the month. I put out mine. Collins got his cracking.
Indeed. It should be
So-
up by the end of the weekend.
Yep. I wrote about Crowder. Joseph, I know that you and Colin talked about Crowder yesterday. So peep that. It's in your inbox if you haven't seen it
it.
already. But yeah, I put that one out. I think I put it out. Usually they come out the morning of the 31st. And I
Yeah.
put it out the evening of. But, you know we're good for
We're
it.
cracking out
Yeah.
here.
We're good for it.
Kevin says we got Newsom in 2018.
Dude,
Ferguson is our Newsom, bro.
Yes.
It's going down. It's going down.
says you guys don't need guns. The cops got you. Even though there's not that many of them anymore. It'll be fine.
And they're not allowed to pursue anymore.
Yeah.
Speaking of, which one is it?
What do you got?
This is from our good friend that we love so much, Jason Rantz.
I do like Jason
on
Rantz.
KTTH, yep, radio. Seattle Police Chief Adrian Diaz told staff that pursuits have been effectively banned in all circumstances. Democrats police pursuit ban requires cops to have recent emergency vehicle operator training and be certified in at least one pursuit intervention option. Otherwise, they cannot pursue you if you're in Seattle PD. So effective
In a
immediately.
vehicle?
Yes. No SPD officer may engage in a pursuit unless the officer involved in the pursuit has been trained in EVOC. So that would be the emergency vehicle operator training. Update within the last years and has been previously trained in the pursuit intervention technique, the pit maneuver, while employed by the Seattle Police Department. Any pursuit must also meet all current requirements in policy. So effectively,
Pit maneuver, you hit the car on the ass.
yeah, you hit it hit that back. What do you call it? Quarter panel.
Yeah,
Just
make them spin.
Yeah.
Turns them completely around.
Yep.
And then they're going forward so quickly they stop.
Yes. Yeah, it's very useful in Grand Theft Auto. If you've ever played that, it works like a champ.
It's a pretty interesting deal to see, honestly.
Yeah. Lots of good videos on the internet showing pit maneuvers.
When
Yeah.
I was watching live PD all the time, right? Because there was that time when I was
Is
like,
this pre George Floyd? 'Cause
yeah,
it's gone now, right?
Yeah, you can't
Yeah.
watch it anymore. It's still on YouTube, but they don't make it anymore. Like the show is not on TV anymore, so there's no new clips. It's only old ones, and I kind of think they took the old ones down for a while. But
Let shit settle down. Like, okay, we
Yeah,
gotta
it-
put them back up. They were
it
good
was-
for ratings.
it was when I was like, I'm gonna be a cop. You know, I was
Oh, yeah,
watching,
yeah.
I was watching live PD all the time, and they had a device that was mounted on the front of a police car that shot a projectile that stuck to a vehicle that they were in pursuit of. That was a tracking mechanism.
Huh.
It there was a box probably about this big, right
Yeah.
about yay big, mounted on the grill that would open up, and there was like a laser that the cop could see in his car, and he could control it with a little joystick thing. Yeah, and then would hit a button, and it was probably like about this big because it was a pretty sizable thing that hit, and it stuck right on the end of their car, and you could see it kind of like waving off of it, but it would
like a radio
track the
antenna type of
vehicle.
thing.
Yeah.
That's like some sci-fi shit. to be
Yeah, I don't
honest.
remember what it was called, but
That's wild.
I was so shocked by it. I showed it to Barbara because she was like the only person that was in office at the time.
Oh, yeah.
And I was like, "Did you know that this existed?" And she said, "No." I was like, "That's wild. Like that's
crazy.
fucked up." It's like that's a projectile. That's a tracking projectile on a police car.
Yeah.
Like that's fucked up. I don't like that at all. So I want to be a cop. I don't like that.
I don't like
that's
that at
not
all.
good. We shouldn't be doing that. I don't know. This strange deal.
Oh, yeah, that does. I don't like it when people can track other people, phones. I don't know, man. That whole thing is
The AirTag thing
makes
is
me
getting
very uncomfortable.
the AirTag thing is getting really big. That you know what that is. You know what I'm talking about. Okay, so an AirTag
Maybe.
is an Apple item that you can get that looks like the key fob that we have for work, and you can attach it to anything so that you can find it. You can put it on your keys. You can put it on anything, just so that you can find it with your phone.
Yeah.
So criminals have started to take these and like put them on people's cars. That they're gonna like this, so that
Yeah.
they'll follow the women and then abduct this woman, you know, or steal your car or whatever they're gonna do. And so it's so bad that Android and Apple are working together to make a system that's cross-platform, so that there's a notification if your phone
Picks
you
up a
start to be
signal.
tracked. Yeah, because people can also just like attach them to your Bluetooth or like whatever the fuck. I don't know all the details,
Yeah.
but yeah. So if your phone or one of your AirTags or something, or if they attach an AirTag to your phone, you get a notification that someone is tracking you, so that you can like turn off your Bluetooth or whatever. It's that bad.
What the fuck?
Yeah. What started as a super cool thing of
Yeah.
I'll never have to lose my keys again has
Yeah.
turned into, well, I might get abducted because I'm a lonely woman, you know? Yeah. Horrific.
Dude, that's so fucking dark.
Yeah.
Yeah, because like you, man, because you could use that for any number of fucked up things.
Yes.
Stalking and, I mean, Jesus, man, just you put it on some, in people's cars to make sure they're not home, so you can go burglarize their house. I mean,
Yep.
for fuck's sakes,
Yep.
what's this fucking world coming to? All these,
Check your Bluetooth, people. Check your Bluetooth. Same thing. Don't have a bunch of stickers on your car. Don't have a whole bunch of, stickers all over your car so that
right.
it's easily identifiable. I have enough on there that even now I'm like, I don't know why I want these. I'm not going to go scrape them off, But Jordan has like 2 stickers that for a long time she wanted in her car. She was like, but you freaked me out. She's like, you talked about it so much. I don't want to put it on my car.
Yeah, bro.
Like, I just don't. I would rather be able to kind of slip into obscurity
Yes.
than someone to be able to easily identify exactly what my car looks like. That's why
yeah.
I don't have lift on my truck. I don't have new rims on my truck. I don't have any of that aftermarket shit. It's,
Yeah.
it's a stock vehicle that has some stickers on it that I put on there before I thought, like, oh, fuck, these
yeah.
are even,
Yeah. If there's an occasion where I drive by you, very rare, if ever.
Yeah.
But there's been a time or two, at least in the parking lot even. And it's like, I don't know it's you
Yes.
until it's too late to wave. Because then I'm like, oh, I got eyes on him. I see
as
him.
it should be.
And that's from going from my old truck, which was the only vehicle of its make, model, year, color in like the county at the time.
Yeah.
Everywhere I went, people knew exactly where I was because
Yes.
I was the only one with that vehicle.
Yes.
And so, like, I mean, I would get text messages, I get phone calls if I'm out and about someplace. Like, hey, I saw you over here. What's up? What are you? People see you coming from a mile away.
Right.
They can obviously track your vehicle very easily if they know generally where you're going to be at a certain time.
Yes.
Hence why my truck was gone. But now, nobody waves at me. I drove by somebody that I would have rather not interacted with, and they were able to look at my vehicle for a short amount of time and had no idea it was me.
Yeah.
Because I would have gotten a phone call from that person to like, hey man, what's up? Let's catch up. And I'm like, I don't want to fucking talk to you.
Yes.
And I just fit in everywhere now. If anything, I get more false flag calls of like, my brother was like, oh, hey man, you're not like down in South Kitsap or something right now, are you? I thought I saw your truck. Nah, bro.
No.
Ain't me. Ain't me.
That's it.
So nobody knows where I'm at anymore. Got no personalized plates. I just blend in with everybody. Just
Be elusive,
disappear
dude.
into the ether.
Be elusive. Be
right.
mysterious.
I don't even know if I can pick out my truck anymore. I might lose it if I went to Walmart.
The shit is good.
Exactly.
The shit is good.
Yep. Got to rely on the bleep bleep. Oh no,
Yes.
we're over there. Couple lines away. So I'm right there with that. I don't like take the stickers off, take all identifiable material off your vehicle, or at least keep a low profile, low key.
Yes.
I'm a huge fan of that. Huge fan of that. Forgot how we ended up there, but the air track,
Air tags.
air tags. Woo.
Yeah, that shit's terrifying.
Yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, no, Jordan went out with her sister and some of their friends last night, and I was like, I would really appreciate if you would take your gun with you, like, because I know you're going to go into bars where like they're going to want you or whatever, and you can't have it in there. But I would like if you had it in your vehicle. And then one of her friends, brought a dude home from the bar, and Jordan drove, so they're all in the car together, and they asked Jordan to take them on base, and she was like, "I'm not doing that." She was like, "I have a firearm, like I have this fucking pen on me." She's like, "I'm not doing that." No. And this guy's like, "You have a gun on you?" And she's like, "Yeah, I do." There's a fucking random dude in her car. Of course she does. Are you a fucking idiot? Are you a goddamn asshole? What a stupid fucking thing to say. You're a small group of women going out by themselves. One of you is armed. How crazy, how ludicrous, how fucking wild that one of you would choose to be responsible to protect yourself and your fucking friends. That's crazy. As I, a grown man, sit in a car with you. What a fucking moron, dude. What an absolute moron. How privileged that you're just, I feel safe all the time. I'm never concerned about anything.
Yeah.
What a fucking idiot.
I'm in a car with a bunch of women by themselves, and I'm going to be like, well, you have a gun on you? Yeah, dude. Yeah, I definitely do.
Dude.
Yeah.
Fucking idiot.
I hope that makes you uncomfortable.
I just got magnetic sheets so I can put my stickers on the magnetic sheet and then cut the sticker out so I can put it on my car and take it off when dude, there
That's
you go.
fire. That's fire.
There
That's a
you
good
go.
idea.
That is a good idea.
I like that a lot. All right, time to order up some magnet sheets. Let's
There you
go. Throw some Bemis tape on it. Call it good.
Let's close out this segment by talking about the Instagram reel and the comments.
Okay. Before we do that, can I
yes.
interject a small
Yes,
one?
of course.
So, we talk a lot on this show about Seattle's homelessness problem.
Dude, the Seattle City Council is wild.
I am convinced they got it figured out, and here is exactly why I believe that.
They got a couple legit commies on that board. Like legitimate actual socialists.
Oh yeah, they
that
do.
are like, yo, we're not even democratic socialists, we are socialists.
And it gets so much better.
And they love it.
It gets so much
All
better.
right, let's see it.
We'll go full screen on this one because you got to see.
In a way, we're sort of in uncharted waters here, but in another sense, we're walking down a very well-taken path, and this board will be the ones leading us. This board represents a broad array of experience and knowledge, from lived experience of housing instability, homelessness, and accessing services in our current ecosystem, as well as
Which
public
means,
finance.
pause for just a second, because it's a lot of gobbledygook, right? There's a lot of words. What that means, what she just said, lived experience with homelessness, that in this board they're creating, and this is not an inherently bad thing, but there are people who were, probably a good thing, there were people who were homeless at one point that are on this board, or people who access state services
Yes.
on this council that they're creating.
Yes.
I know I'm not, there's a lot of words.
There's
There's
a
a
lot of
ton of
words.
words that's
Yes.
like super difficult to get through sometimes.
And I get immediately turned off by this woman. She feels like she'd be a super downer at a party.
Oh, for sure.
You know?
Yeah.
Like it's a high class wino party.
Yeah.
And she still will bring the room down.
Jordan's stepdad, great guy, can't ask him about his job. Works with homeless people. It's just inherently
Oh,
sad
yeah.
thing to talk
Can't
about.
do that.
If you even, and it's not like that's
it's
just the reality
it's
of
just a
that
sad
job.
situation.
That's a super fucking sad
Yeah.
thing to talk about. So talking about anything besides his job, absolutely great guy,
Yeah.
absolutely fantastic. Yeah, talking about his job, you're like, well, I want to kill myself now because
Well, that's a downer.
yeah, it's rough, dude.
Finance, labor representation, public policy, nonprofit affordable housing development, social housing, and regional planning experience. So with that, I want to welcome our panelists here. Okay, I'm going to turn to the folks who are online, and
Masked
I will
up, bro.
just call
Masked
on
up.
you. If you could introduce yourself, Ivo.
Hello, my name is Ebo Barton. I use he, him pronouns. And I have lived experience with being chronically homeless, as well as professional experience working in permanent supportive housing, along with supporting the gender diverse community of Seattle.
That's about the most succinct answer you're going to get, by the way.
Yeah.
And so, experienced homeless before? Been
Yeah,
homeless, right?
chronically.
Chronic. Well, yeah. I don't know what the difference would mean,
I
other
guess-
than like you just
I
don't
wonder
have a
what the
spot.
time. I wonder what the time frame is because
Yeah, it's
you
like
could,
over
yeah,
6 months, or what are we
like
talking about?
temporarily homeless
Yeah.
versus chronically homeless.
And then sounded like more or less gotten out of that by working the other side of the system.
Yeah,
That's a good deal. That's
it's
a good
pretty
deal.
common.
Very much so. But obviously, there's some pretty deep political persuasion, some ideology underlying all that.
Thank
Obviously.
you. Katie?
Hi, my name is Katie Lebret. I am a trans woman who lives in Seattle. I
am not prepared to be in a public office.
I have experience with working with youth, young adults, like, the younger generation of us.
Just really bad at public
I also
speaking.
have lived experience with being homeless as well and navigating the systems.
Thank you.
So works with young people, has experience working with the younger
Of us.
of us.
The fuck?
Yeah, obviously,
Do you know what you do?
A trans person. So this is very important for the city of Seattle, diversity, and all those. There's a massive problem with underrepresentation in the homeless population of Seattle, so we have to make sure to connect with them on that level.
Right.
Devin.
My favorite.
Hi, my name is Devin Fortunate. I'm one of the board members appointed by the Seattle Renters Coalition. I am a lifelong renter or renter for my whole adult life. Professionally, I am a Head Start teacher, so I work with low income and largely immigrant families. I have also had a lot of experience living in homes with unsafe conditions and poor maintenance and have that piece of lived experience. I am also a member of the Party for Socialism and Liberation. And
Oh,
the
yeah.
Answer
There it
Coalition.
is.
Okay.
And a
Do
gamer.
you- do-
And a gamer, because
okay.
look at that fucking headset,
Yeah.
bro.
You guys, you guys know that I don't like doing this type of stuff, right? You know that I've got a Colin about it before. You know I don't like doing this. If I was an immigrant, if I came here and I had a child who was going through the American school system and I was not from here, but I'm here, and this person is teaching my child, I would say, what the fuck is America? What the fuck is this place that I just came to?
Thank you for noticing that aspect of
What the
things.
fuck is this country that I just came to? Is it better here? Is it truly better here? I'd be really questioning what I'm doing.
I would
What
indeed.
am I getting my fucking child into in Spanish? What the shit, dude?
We took in a massive amount of Afghan. I always get the Afghan versus
Word.
Afghani because Afghani is the currency, but Afghan
Right.
is the collective
Is the
people.
people.
We had a ton of the Afghan migrants from the bug out
Yep.
from Kabul. We took in, I forget how many, it was over 10,000. I'm
But yo,
pretty
these
sure.
people were telling us what to do. These motherfuckers are telling us what to do. Like, all
Word,
right.
word. And
American
an interesting
superiority,
thing,
huh?
you know,
Jesus
so,
Christ.
so there's that. But
This
hey,
person who's an advocate for socialism.
well, yeah, and that's going to be very confusing to a child that came from anywhere else in the world. It's going to be very confusing for them to see that as your tutor in the Head Start program.
What are we doing?
We're getting interesting.
What
We're
are we
trying
doing?
something new with solving the homelessness problem, and that
You guys remember,
You know?
maybe 2 episodes ago, we talked about the amount of money that had been spent in homeless services and the amount of money, the things that had actually been done. It's nothing.
Yep.
There's nothing. The money, it's millions and millions of dollars that has just disappeared into people's pockets.
and it's gone.
And now we're bringing in people who I don't know, and I'm not.
They'll probably take a lower paycheck than the standard NGO nonprofit person.
I'm just not sure why this is going to be the thing that's going to fix the homeless issue. I don't understand that because it's not like, as you said, it's not like we don't interact with the homeless population with the millions and millions of dollars we've been spending in trying to do this, right? We are interacting with them because we're doing so because the people are accessing the services. So
Yeah.
it's not like we don't have a read on what the requests are from the homeless community. It's not like we don't have an understanding on what they need, what they're telling us would make it easier for them to not be homeless. Even
Yeah.
if that's what you're going for, not even this is what I think is going to be the best path. Even if your whole idea is we're going to tap into the community and find out what they think we should do. You have to set up a separate commission for that. You don't have the ability in your daily interactions with the homeless community to find out from them, the people who are actively homeless right now, what's going to help them not be homeless. You have to create a commission for 3 people, give them a job with the state. I don't understand this.
Well, it's Seattle. You're not supposed to understand. It just works. But there's a guy. He's like an on-the-ground gonzo journalist. Runs around Seattle. He's an Asian guy. Does some great stuff with anything Antifa involved. And he's been very all over the homeless stuff lately.
Yes.
I forget his name.
Jim or James or...
Yeah.
I know you're talking
So
about.
great Twitter follow. But
It's not Andy, no.
No. But he did a interview with a homeless guy who'd been homeless, I think, in Seattle for like 4 or 5 years, and he's having a conversation with this guy, and essentially he said, he's like, the biggest problem within the homeless communities that I run in, there's a lot of people that have no concept of actually how to get a hold of any form of service that they might need that the city does provide. And he said that's, for one, so that might be an outreach issue or something like that, but there's you're not going to go looking for services if you don't know they exist or whatever, or you don't think you can have ready access to them or something. But he's about the only guy that I know that's actually on the ground talking to these people, trying to find out their actual desires of what they're looking for. Seattle City Council's not going to be doing any of
Because
that.
I don't think they're even doing like the one night counts like they used to, because they're saying it's not an effective grade or you know of how many people are really out there. That's fine. You can still use this as an opportunity to talk to the people who are refusing or can't go into a shelter to find out what the fucking deal is. Because we've talked about this issue for a very long time, because it's been an issue in our state for longer than this, far longer than we've been doing
it
this
just gets
show.
worse every day.
And so we've just had many segments on it. We've discussed it in great detail. There are a lot of different reasons why people are not in shelters. Part of it is the limitation of the shelters. Like some of them, you can do drugs there. You can't do drugs there. You can't have a dog. You have to be just man or just woman or no children, or you have to have children, and I think part of what that guy was getting at is you don't know which one is which. You show up somewhere, and if they turn you away, I'm not going to go to 3 other fucking shelters to try and do it. I'm just going to sleep at the place I slept at last night, because it's not, you know, there's an understandable degradation of your level of vigor and willingness to harshly pursue things if you've been homeless for a long time. I'm not surprised that you get turned down one time and you're like, I don't want to do it, right? Where most people would say, well, maybe I'll try somewhere else. I know there's another shelter down here. I know there's another one over here. If you've been homeless for 4 years or whatever, fuck it. I don't want to deal with it. Yeah.
I got a system.
I got
that
a
works
place
for me.
that I know that I can go, and I don't have to worry about it.
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I just don't think the city's going to, they're not tapping into it.
No.
They never are. No. They never will. So I'm running into a problem here.
The place that we talked a while ago, the end of last year, when right around the time that we bought our house, there was another place that we were looking at that was next to a facility, and you can look it up if you're not from here, and it is called Pendleton Place, and it was a facility that was built in Bremerton, that is a long-term housing facility for the chronically homeless, and there is no prohibition on drug use there, and they've had more than one person overdose and die there, and it's been up and operating for less than 2 years. This is not the way. This is not the answer.
Mandalorian would not be thrilled with this. This is not the way.
Destroyed people's ability to live in those areas because it's now fucking terrifying. I mean, the house we bought is still not much farther from it, but it's not 2 blocks down like the other one was. So just none of this makes any sense. What's the issue that you're running into?
I can't open replies.
Oh.
So we might have to do this one off the cuff here, because we can get some. Show more. Why is this Instagram on the computer
That is weird.
below sometimes? Because I want to see, and it just goes back.
All right. Well, I can pull it up on my phone and I can read it from there.
There we go. We'll just pull up the
Yes.
the main post here.
Yes. So
Excellent social media game, I might add, good sir.
We all experience. It only takes a cursory glance around the globe to see this as a
That was so fire. It was so fire.
yeah. So this reel, we're not going to listen to the reel. You guys can go and you can watch it if you want. I think most of the people here have seen it already. It is a selection from Salty Newsletter number 14, and the article that I wrote for it that is entitled, "What Does This Have to Do with Freedom and Liberty?" And I think that I might take it and post it on our website so that anybody can go and read it. It's been a few months now, and that way you guys can get better context. This particular article is about the federal government, right? And the ways in which the federal government infringes on people's freedoms and liberties on a daily basis. That's what this article is about. Keep that in mind as we move through this. So I'll pull it up here on my phone and we'll be able to go through it.
Yeah, at least I'll be able to see some,
Yes.
like the main comment.
Okay. Comments, boom, 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 boom. Yeah, you can see the first one and the person that we're talking about. So this person, the first one is, well, Kevin, of course.
Shout out.
And this person is B. Trakar.
B.
something.
Trakar.
Yeah, so this is actually the last person that I talked to, but the most recent one. So this person says it's a woman from Colorado, because of course I fucking snooped on her shit. And she said,
Oppo research.
yeah, bro, Americans have all the government oppression, cops, harsh drug laws, homophobic and transphobic laws, fascists in Florida and Texas, but we still don't have the benefits of safety or security. Hyper-individualism leads to the worst of both worlds.
So their point being, it's dangerous for people to have too much freedom and liberty. They see that as
yes.
hyper individualism,
Yes.
which means that it's all for me, fuck everything else around me,
Right.
burn it all to the ground. And of course, hyper individualism leads to harsh drug laws, homophobic and transphobic laws, fascists in Florida and Texas, apparently.
Right.
That's what individualism gets you.
Hyper-individualism.
Hyper individualism.
Which is, of course, not what we advocate for here.
It's also made up. That's
Yes.
not a real
No.
thing.
Hyper-individualism, no.
Yeah, it's
And
individualist
when
or not.
Right. When you Google it, because I did look it up because I wanted to make sure that I knew exactly what she was talking about. So I'll Google it so that we have like the exact definition of it.
It's like a wokey term. It's really, I mean, it comes from that. It's a modern day lexicon
Yes.
only. You know, individualism can't be that bad. So, but hyper individualism
I
is.
have to Google it.
It's an all or nothing. I could probably do that since my Instagram's
I
broken.
got it. Hyper-individualism, a tendency for people to act in a highly individual way without regard to society. So when you don't think enough about society as a whole, and that's just the Wikipedia one. There was a longer one that I had that was like, hyper-individualism is a tendency in liberal individual society for social actors to understand themselves as disparate entities rather than part of a like
Collective.
yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Yep. Yeah, it's woke
Yep,
talk.
precisely.
So if you're not in the collective, you're a hyper individualist.
Yes.
If you don't do whatever you're doing in your day-to-day life, if you're not doing it at least within the mindset of the greater good, you're hyper individualist,
Yeah.
and that's bad.
And that's how we got here.
And that's how you get fascists in Florida and Texas.
Yes.
Still. How the fuck? Okay.
So my response was, we don't advocate for hyper-individualism. Community and groups are necessary for long-term survival. The ways in which we choose to secure our communities and ensure our safety and are directly limited by the government, federal and state, and they should not be. The piece this is taken from makes the larger point that the federal government in particular is the cause of limitations and infringements on our rights that we feel every day, and that is morally wrong. The reply to that is, but it's not the feds that are the oppressors in most communities. It's the local government in the form of cops and local businesses, wage theft and profit, and hyper-individualism leading to the elimination of public services that provide a safety net. Okay, so as we just went over in our own communities here, you cannot argue in America that there is a overall lacking in public services. That's factually incorrect. You are factually incorrect. That is not true. You can't argue for that. Even if they don't exist in your state, there are federal welfare programs. You are wrong. That is not correct. You can argue that they are inadequate. I would argue that I'm not even going to go into it because in certain circumstances they are, in certain circumstances they aren't. But you cannot argue that there is just a complete dearth of that across the country. That's not true. It's factually incorrect.
Yeah. If anything, you could make the argument that there's a ton of programs out there, and most of them may not be run very well.
They are difficult to
But
navigate
yes,
purposefully because they are designed by the federal government who doesn't want to help you. The government is not here to help you. That's where you're wrong. To the original premise of your thought that the government is here to help is wrong. You're incorrect. They're here to steal from you and coerce you into what they want you to do. That is why it is intentionally difficult for you to get these services. You have to do what they want to get the service. right? Whereas instead, if you had a strong community like we advocate for, not hyper individualism, right? Because we've never done that on the show. There's a difference between you need to convince me and fuck you, I don't care about you at all. Those are very different things. If you want me to do something, you need to convince me. You don't get to tell me what to do. You can't coerce me. You need to convince me, right? I need to have a choice in this. That's what we advocate for here. We are also enormous advocates, as you can see by the fucking shooting footage that we show here all the time. Community is very important. It's extremely important. You literally can't survive without a community. It is more beneficial. It would be easier and long-term more beneficial if you could appeal to your community for aid. They could then look at the case because they know you, give you the things that you need to get you off of your feet, and then you can move on with your life, which is the actual intent of the welfare system, is for you to have temporary assistance so you can get a job and support yourself again, not live on it for 30 years. That's not a safety net. A safety net is not a thing that you can sustain yourself on for the entirety of your life. That's a welfare program. That's not how this works. It's ludicrous. I mean, the idea that your original premise is wrong. You are incorrect. Without a safety net and with a corrupt justice system, we guarantee crime in our communities. No fucking shit. Hyper-individualism also leads to our dispersal of homes. Everyone has to have a single family home in the burbs and drive a big truck and drive as fast as they want, wherever they want. Speed limits? We need speed limits? It's not good for anyone to drive how fast wherever they want.
Well, and let's not even take into account the fact that you're obviously neglecting to even think about the majority of populations that live in cities that where they're affected most for people, or there's the most people, the most concentrated amount of people that need public assistance of some kind revolve primarily within giant cities that are run and occupied by people of your political ideology.
And
so like you're essentially defeating your own argument, because you're saying that people that live out in the suburbs and drive big trucks they're causing the lack of help for people that need social programs.
Yeah, her claim is that
none of this makes sense,
because the people that want to live in single family homes are the reason that the people who live in cities, the good people, right, who aren't hyper individual, who live in cities and apartments, that's why they get fucked by the corrupt justice system. It's because of us. Because we don't want to be a part of that. And that's what feeds into the corrupt justice system that they're a fault of, right? Because it's the police that are oppressing them. Right? The people who live in the country, to remind you, don't want police help. We live too far out. That's why we want guns. We don't want police help. We want our choice to defend ourselves. You who are claiming that you're oppressed by the police, you live in the city. You choose to subjugate yourself. You do this to yourself. No one is oppressing you. You are oppressing yourself. You live in the city. You live in a place that is run by your ideology, as Colin has just pointed out to you. You are oppressing yourself. We are not doing this to you. I don't want more intervention. I want less intervention.
Yeah.
I'm not doing this to you. You're doing this to yourself. Yeah.
And to think that any individualistic person wants to push their values into the inner city is ludicrous.
Yes.
Because if they did, they'd be there. But they don't, which is why they left. They're not fucking with your shit.
No.
You're the only one doing it.
And let's explain to me how your ideology holds up when we have seen the fleeing of people in droves from the states that are run by the ideology that you're advocating for. All these people who live in California that fled to red states because of the things that you're talking about, that you're advocating for, that's why they left. That's why they're not living there anymore. Because it doesn't work.
They're just a bunch of hyper-individualist fascists.
Yeah,
so.
These destroy our communities and isolate people from one another. They make our shared spaces exceptionally dangerous. Oppression is real. Okay, you removing yourself makes the shared space more dangerous. How? In what world does that make sense? It doesn't. It does not. Me wanting choice, and in that choosing to defend myself and the people around me with a firearm, in what world are you now less safe because I've made that choice?
I mean,
what are you talking about?
In a realistic world.
You're just ranting. You came here, you heard a robot woman's voice, made up something in your head, and then just ran with it. Ignored everything that I said and ran with it. You literally don't know what you're talking about. It's pretty delicious. It's pretty awesome. Oppression is real, but you're fighting the feds while the real oppressors have already robbed you blind.
Well, also, yes, we're fighting the feds,
Yeah.
but also we're fighting anybody attached to the corrupt establishment, whether that be corporations
Yes.
or crony capitalists. Or, I mean, you name it. Name me a politician, and I'll tell you why they shouldn't be in office.
And
I don't care
underlines-
which side.
It underlines the level of ignorance that's involved here because I said in the first reply, this piece that this is taken from is about the federal government. This piece, the one that you chose to comment on, is about the federal government. That's the point. That's the idea. That's the plot, man. That's what we're talking about here is the federal government.
The plot.
Yes. So yes, you're so right.
You've lost the
Yep.
plot.
Yeah. So in response to that, we are well aware of the ways the state governments affect our lives. We are an anti-government and live in Washington state. This piece is about the federal government. We speak regularly on our show about state governments and the ways they too infringe on our liberties. See the assault weapons ban that we fucking talked about until our asses fell off. We advocate for choice on all levels, not hyper-individualism, as we said before. There is no question we are oppressed by government, state and federal alike. I think you fail to see the level of influence the federal government has on individual state governments through federal funding, cops, housing, schools, the same examples that she gave, right? Because all of those things, if we forget, are controlled by the federal government. If you want money for your schools, you do what they say. If you want money for your cops, you do what they say. That's how this works. On average, a quarter of state funding comes from the federal government. Or a quarter of it. If you want the money, you do what they say. You're dumb. You have to be choosing to be this ignorant. You have to choose it. It's impossible to not do that because you can't have researched this issue and still be trying to blame people who want to live by themselves. That's insanity. The federal government controls what the states do with the money that go into the programs that you have just discussed. The federal government controls these things through housing and urban development, the Department of Education. Come on, dog. You're kidding me, right? You're joking me. When the vast majority of states are tapping into the Medicare system, you're joking me, right? The federal government controls the same things that you are complaining about.
She's in a cult.
You don't know what you're talking about. I hear you. I understand it. You don't understand what freedom is. You don't get it. You think that for everyone to be free, we have to all live in a building together. If I don't want to live in a building with you, I don't want community. That's insane. That doesn't make any sense because I don't want to live within your definition of community. That is not freedom. That is authoritarianism. You are telling me what freedom is. I already exist in that ideology in this state. As we just talked about, they tell us what is right and wrong, and we choose to do what they say. That's what freedom is here. That's not freedom. That isn't choice. That's not real. That is a false reality that you have chosen to buy into that these people have constructed. I get it. You don't know what freedom is. I get it. You're wrong, though. I understand. I'm not going to argue with you. You're wrong. If you are advocating for someone else to not be able to choose what they want, that's authoritarianism. You're choosing for someone else. That's not freedom. That is not freedom. And if you think that in some way they should be forced to do so, that's fascism. That's what that is. The threat of violence, using that to force someone to do what you want. That's fascism. That is what that is. So that's fine if that's what you advocate for. We are, that was really close. We're anti-fascist on this podcast. We are not Antifa. We are against fascism on all levels, right? I'm not going to support you in this.
No.
You're wrong, and that's okay. You don't know what freedom is. At the end of the day, I still want you to be able to choose. I want you to have freedom because that's what choice really is. That's what freedom really is. It's okay if you don't get that. That's why you only get 2 replies.
Cult members only get 2 replies.
That's why you get 2.
And that's what it is this woman's in a cult. She is in a what do you call that? The chamber, the ideological fucking bubble chamber, whatever they call that, the echo chamber, where there are only certain prescribed correct answers for anything, and that has to be essentially approved by the collectivist narrative in the cult. And anything outside of that is dangerous and scary and wrong and bad. And when the problem is when you're in that cult, you don't know that you're in a cult.
Yes.
And you don't have the ability to even perceive outside of the narrow boundaries of ideology that your cult allows you to live within. You don't even know that there's something beyond the wall. Uh-oh, what do you got?
The first guy that I roasted, he deleted his comments.
No way.
Yeah, that's why I can't even see him. What a little bitch. I was gonna roast you and you got scared. You did this. I'm saying your name. You did it.
Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy.
Harsh Bing with 2 H at the end of harsh. You did this. You came here. You asked for the smoke. You're a pussy. You deleted your own comment. You're a pussy, dude.
Would that be in the...
Yes. Yeah, keep scrolling. Keep
scrolling.
Because Deborah liked him. Then so she liked my replies. You can only see the things that I said because this is the guy that tried to say that other countries, maybe you could scroll down more. It might say that he commented, but I don't know. It might just say this dude commented on your post. But
No.
nope, he deleted him because he's a pussy.
Wow.
Wow, dog. You came, dude. Okay. You showed up here. You asked for this fucking smoke. You came and you said, actually, other countries are more free and America's not even a top 10 place to live. It actually sucks here. You said that. And then made some comment about how Americans can't argue on the internet. So you're obviously not actually from here. You're from somewhere else. And you got a rash on your ass because I said that America's the shit. It is, right? We complain about it all the time. There is not a better place to live in the world than America. Hands down, no question, no challenge. There isn't a place that is better. There are places you can get other services. You can have more things of some variety. There is not a place in the world that is better to live in America, in a place where you have a higher likelihood of going from nothing to something. There isn't one. It doesn't exist. There isn't a place where you can be more free than America. It's not real. If you believe that, you're believing a lie. That's a fallacy. Again, same deal as the other woman from Colorado. That's fine. You're wrong. But that's fine. I'm okay with that. But I'm going to tell you that you're wrong. That's why I sent you the smoke. You could see what I said. The first thing, the only country with anything close to freedom is the U.S. That is the truth. That is reality. And if you take a look at all the countries that founded themselves after this one, their constitutions are based on ours. And then a more limited version. That's how it works. Less freedom.
Yeah, they're like, no, we can't give them all those things.
Whoa,
I mean,
it's too much.
it's too much freedom. Baby.
You idiot. There is no doubt there are problems here, but this is the only place where we have the right, ability, and duty to fight for our freedom as well as the recourse to do so. This is the only country with free speech. In multiple EU countries, you can be jailed for speech and have no rights to defend yourself. Canada included, as we have seen in the video from Justin Trudeau, you don't have a right to defend yourself with a firearm in Canada.
Nope.
You don't have that right there. It doesn't exist because he used Canada as an example of like even Canada is better. We are the only place with anything close to freedom.
Canada jailed people for going to church during COVID.
They stole their money for protesting.
They locked them. They froze their bank accounts, took money from them because they were not part of a approved protest.
Because they honked a horn.
You know, or even maybe sent $5 to somebody that was there to honk their horn.
Bilbo.
Those people also got down.
Yes.
And you see it happen in the UK all the time. People getting arrested for memes.
Yeah.
We had the case. I forget the dude's name that he posted that meme during the 2016 election, and it was like a meme with Hillary Clinton on it. It said, you know, don't vote by mail or something like that. Text your vote into this number. He's guilty. He's going to fucking jail now. Because for posting a fucking meme, they call it election interference or some shit.
Yep.
It's bro.
So his
Don't
response
tell me that.
was something to the effect of like, I'm wrong on every level, and he could prove it categorically, but
I can't.
something's razor. I don't remember some fucking college bullshit, you know. But this guy's razor applies, and because you made the claim, you have to substantiate it, and I don't have to refute it because you're the one that said that America's more free. Okay, are you not the one that said America is less free? Do you not then, by the same principle, need to justify what you said after I showed you that you're wrong? So my response to him, because can't remember exactly what he said, said it's very simple. If you can be jailed for hate speech, like in many EU countries, including Germany, which you can, because I even looked it up after that to fucking make sure. Because after I said it, I was like, God damn, what if I'm wrong? Like maybe I'm wrong about that.
Better check.
A cursory Google search will show you that I am correct. Your speech is not free. If you don't have the right to defend yourself how you choose, like in Canada, you aren't really free. The point of the piece in this video is that the government is at the root of the violations of our rights we experience every day. And these are two very basic examples. Nothing. No response.
No.
Then came back and deleted his comments like a pussy.
Did that cursory Google search and was like,
yeah,
oh,
oh
fuck.
shit, I'm
Oh,
wrong.
shit.
Oh no. Oh no. You can be jailed for saying bad shit in Canada.
Oh,
They do get to
no.
define what's hate speech and what's free speech there. Isn't that terrible?
Oh, man.
You idiot.
Dum,
That's
dum,
what you
dum,
get.
dum, dum.
You come here, you fucking come correct, or I will destroy you in the comments and on the show. I will roast you. I do not care. I am not here for you. I am here, I guess, in the long term to show you what freedom is, but if you don't get it, get the fuck out. I don't care.
Get out.
I don't care. I will fucking destroy you if you come here. If you come correct. God damn it.
I mean, I could give you an
Dude, if you
example.
throw a spear at the king, you better fucking hit, dog. Like, I'm not, fuck you. I'm not taking it. I will destroy you. I cannot believe what a pussy that guy is. Hilarious. You're on the internet. I don't even know who you are. This is as anonymous as it could be, but you put your own picture on there. That's why you knew you were going to catch the smoke, you idiot. You knew. Fucker, dude.
Oh, dude, he stole that W from you, you know? He just ripped it out of your hands.
No, this is still a dub. You ran. You deleted your own comment. That's a dub. Because my comments are still there. Deborah liked them. I can
That's
still
right.
see it. I know that we interacted, you
Shout
fucker.
out Debs.
I'm screenshotting those responses and tweet them out. You're a bitch. God damn it.
Well, then you can inevitably screenshot the picture of him blocking you, and then the circle
Fuck
will
yeah.
have been completed.
Ooh, I wonder if he has a Twitter with the same name.
Oh, well, I'm telling you, you're going to find out.
I don't have time for that. I can't be following people
don't wanna
around different
chase that
social
down?
medias. Be like, hey, pussy, why did you delete your comments? That would be so funny, though. Dude, if I didn't have kids, the time that I would have to do this type of shit.
Oh, buddy. You'd be tearing it up
Oh, it
on
would
the
be
internet.
horrible. It would be horrible. I would be drinking so much. I would just been sloshed and going through our comments.
Oh, that would be... I mean, we can hire a guy. We can find somebody.
To get drunk and comment to people.
We'll just pay him in booze.
Yes.
We'll be like, all
Hilarious.
right, man, so here's the deal. I'm going to give you a bottle every week, and you're just gonna light up the comments. Go
Yeah.
for it. We need a troll in chief. Let's go.
Well, that's how you know that we're right, because he
Yep.
ran away.
Yep.
All right, what do you got here? There's this tack down.
Yeah, I mean, we could show it real quick before we pull
let's
out.
see it.
The Tacoma Police, the community has officially turned in 128 firearms.
What, do they have a
buckets
give
of
back or whatever?
ammunition. Yep, a buyback, and 50 gun lock boxes were handed out during our gun give back event on Sunday. Thank you to everyone who participated. So 128 firearms that people no longer own.
Why would you not sell them? Why would you not make money? Because look at all like the handguns. A bunch of those are like snub nose revolvers. Like
Yeah.
it looks like looks like some sweet pieces in there.
Yeah, it does.
So the handguns at the very least. And if you have a wood stocked long rifle, sell it because it's worth money, even if it's in shit shape. Someone can take it and reshape the stock in a more ergonomic fashion, sand it down, and sell it for even more money. Why? Don't do this to yourself.
The reason they're doing it is because they have fallen prey to the same ideological mind virus that says guns are bad and I shouldn't have guns and neither should you. So I'm going to give them back to the state because I can't. I believe there's like an MSRP refund check you can get. 'Cause
Right.
we had talked about there's a program now state level that like local PDs and stuff can do buyback programs pretty much at any time they want.
Okay.
And you get some form of compensation back for it.
Dude.
But the reason they're not turning around and doing something smart like selling them to a gun shop and getting some form of recompense back for the initial purchase, it's because they are ideologically swayed to the point they don't think anybody should have this gun either.
Fools.
So they're just going to give it back to the state, which will do what the fuck ever with them. But 128 on one Sunday last week.
There was a guy in one of these states, I don't remember what it was, that bought a bunch of PLA for his 3D printer and 3D printed like fucking 90 of these lowers.
Woo.
And then went and sold them to the police. Yeah, they had a buyback and like made a shitload of money and profit off of it.
I'm here for it.
Yeah.
It's like, wait a minute. Well, at this point now, don't be doing that because where's the serial number? Well, there's not one. I made it. You're like, well, you're right to jail.
Well, they can't prove when you made it though. So
That's
as long
true.
as it's not warm when you hand it in,
Yeah.
you know, then there's like
Fresh
there's
off the
no
printer.
one can prove it. I mean, you could be like, I've literally had them sitting around for years, and I just didn't know what to do. And then I
Nope.
saw that you were having this thing.
So
So
I'm
I woke
getting
up
mine.
last night and realized that guns are bad.
Yes.
And so I was gonna attack something, and now I don't want to. And I
I'm a
wanna-
convertee. You have fixed me.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here you go. Give me my checks, please.
Yes.
I'm going to go buy 10 times more fucking resin now. Let's
Go-
go.
Go get paid. Do
Go
it.
get paid.
Go get paid.
Love it.
Yeah, a bunch of those are like long rifles, like bolt actions, because they don't look like AR stocks.
No.
They're like,
None of those guns seem to be ones. I mean,
come on,
I'm
guys.
firmly a believer that any gun is worth keeping.
You're losing money.
Come on.
You're losing money here.
But hey, that's Tacoma. Those people are going to be. They're making the streets of Tacoma a safe place.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, much safer now that civilians don't have those guns.
Exactly, and the government will definitely be responsible with
Should have
them.
just thrown it over a bridge. That's
Yeah.
exactly what's going to happen.
Yeah, thank God. Hopefully, they just don't turn them over to the ATF because they lose thousands of guns every year.
I think the police department chops them up.
That's can you? That's worse than like a factory farming video
Yeah.
for me.
Yeah,
I don't want
and
to
they
see that
just chop
shit.
'em
That
up.
is heartbreaking.
Just use a fucking
Going poor man over here. Give me some guns.
chop saw with a thick ass blade on it and just which is should be a crime. No, I'm talking about punishable. That should be a crime.
That hurts me emotionally.
Yeah. You got anything else for part one?
That's what I got, baby.
All right, guys. Well, with that, we will go and take our first break, and we'll be back in just a few minutes for part 2 of episode. Oh, come on.
Don't get in my personal space.
Episode 147, Salt of the Streets. My name is Donovan.
I'm calling.
We have been happy to have you guys here. I am at Salt of the Street on Twitter and at alpaca_Donovan on Instagram. And Colin is at Big Bird Offie on both those things. You can find all of this at saltofthestreets.com, including our YouTube and our patreon.com/Salt of the Streets. Go there, subscribe, help us make more, better content just like this. We'll be back in just a few minutes. Thank you guys. Bye.
Welcome to the salt of the streets, coming at you every